independent groups and the Democratic Party rules are going to buy tons of advertising. I mean, tens or 30 million, 40, 50 million dollars that will attack. Kerry and Edwards will try to take the high road, stay positive, but the others will be on the attack.
One of the most important players here at this convention is Harold Ickes, the leader of one of those 427 groups with all that money to now spend. To spend it around
coming together.
Americans coming together. They call it. These are the groups that get around McCain-Feingold and are spending all this money. Now that he's got the nomination, he cannot spend his own money any longer. It has to be party money or this backdoor money.
Right. Let me ask you really quickly. We talked about Howard Dean going out attacking Al Sharpton. What about the American Elvis of Democratic politics? Bill Clinton, Al Gore in 2000 didn't know how to love him, as the song went. What do they do with Bill Clinton?
They send him to Tennessee. They send him to Arkansas. They send him across those states where he still has the appeal. He's still a big star in Democratic politics, and until tonight, he at least gave the best speech of this convention.
Let me also tell you that I think that the fact that the Republican establishment and operations already has spent somewhere between $80 and $100 million, being almost full-time negative on Kerry, I think that's going to backfire. I think the American people want to hear the positive stuff. They don't want to hear the negative stuff. Obviously, that goes to the Republican base, but the Republican base is not large enough to win this election. It is large enough. What?
It didn't completely back.
Look at the poll numbers.
They nicked Kerry up a little bit.
Against George W. Bush. This is normally the vice president's job. He didn't do that at all. It's kind of strange and unique to me to see that. It'll be interesting to see how much John Kerry feels he has to make that case tomorrow night, but he also, most important of all, has to make people feel comfortable with him in two ways. One, as a human being, because he's going to be living in your kitchens and dens and family rooms for the next 4 years. And secondly, comfortable as a leader, as a commander-in-chief.
Does he at some point have to explain the Senator Kerry sometimes is all about nuance, and President Bush sometimes is all about black and white. It's good and evil. Does Senator Kerry at some point have to explain in ways that most people in the country understand his thinking on that $87 billion vote?
I would imagine that he might have to, especially since that is President Bush's biggest applause line now in every stump speech he gives. It's the emotional heart of the president's attack on John Kerry and the Republicans' attack on John Kerry. But it's a very complicated thing. You know, Republicans pretty much are the party of the simple sentence. Strong defense, low taxes, family values. Part of the reason why Democrats always feel so defensive and uncertain is that they're the party of the compound sentence. And John Kerry is the candidate of the compound sentence with 16 subclauses and codicils. And this $87 billion vote, not to vote for the $87 billion to continue the action in Iraq, is a very difficult vote to explain.
So he has to, but you haven't figured out how he does it yet?
Well, I haven't figured out how he does it. I think that, the question is whether he has. There have been times when he has been very succinct and eloquent about explaining his vote for the war. It's been tougher for him to explain the $87 billion because it was a protest vote. He knew that $87 billion was going to be voted. If he had been the 51st vote and his vote would have cut off the troops in the field and cut off their equipment and supplies, he would have voted for it. But he was casting a protest vote against the way the war was being conducted. That's the best I can do with it, and we'll see whether John Kerry really wants to own up to that.
Joe, we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you. It'll be interesting to see how.
Good to see you, Aaron.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Joe Klein, Time Magazine. Take a quick break first.